Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to our Facebook Live. I'm Julia and I am here representing Northeast Ambition, and I have Connor here today who also is part of the same organisation that I actually work for. So we're both on the Education Development Trust team, and Connor's from a different department, so he's going to explain a little bit about how he can potentially help you as a business owner today. So if you've got any questions for him, feel free to just pop them into the comments and we'll come back to them. Good morning. I can see some people jumping on. Morning. I will look on my phone just so to let Connor know. We can't see the names from here, but I can have a look on my phone and we can see who we've got joining us and just give them a little shout. So we've got Linda, we've got Jordan, we've got Helen, we've got Carl, we've got Madeline. Morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing amazing. So yeah, I think we'll get started, and Connor can just basically steal the show a little bit, tell us a little bit about the project that he works on and how that could be relevant to you as a business owner in here. So over to you, Connor. I think you're muted at the minute, but if you're all right, yeah, you're all right.
No problem. Good morning, everyone. Lovely to meet you all. So as Julia introduced there, I am from a program called Making a Difference. So I work as an employment coach. In short, we are employability support who provide information and advice and guidance to job seekers. So job seekers who are either claimants of the job centres, or they could be students looking for work, basically anyone who's unemployed. And what we do primarily is we facilitate them in finding meaningful work. So our main goal really is to give them sustained employment, or not to give them, but rather to help them get that, rather than the job that sort of lasts, 2 weeks or a month or short-term contracts, because what we're trying to do is break the cycle. A big challenge in the kind of unemployed sphere is that it is a little bit of a revolving door sometimes, as where you might find work, it might be temporary, it might be, very unstable type of work. And what we're aiming to achieve is help these people into employment that's going to be lasting. And to do that, it takes quite a lot of things that we have to achieve. So we do a lot of networking with local businesses, other employability programs, and of the bigger corporations as well. But what I've found quite a lot, and it's quite heartwarming as well, being from the Northeast, a lot of the job seekers I work with have a real passion for working for your sort of smaller independent sole traders or SMEs, rather than your typical larger organizations. And the reason being is feedback from some of the job seekers who found work in those areas is they've felt really sort of listened to and valued in that organization, more so than what they'd feel in a larger organization. And that's not to say you can't get, big employers with great jobs available and great sort of employee benefits. But a lot of the time, I do think that if you're a SME or a sole trader, you have more time on your hands to really value your employees. And that one really comes through from the feedback so far. So in short, yeah, that's kind of what we're aiming to do, is we help people who are looking for work find appropriate work for them in a sector that is actually meaningful to them, rather than kind of just any job. So that's our mission in that sense.
Excellent. So I guess for the business owners in here, where you could potentially help, even though you're not a recruitment agency, you might have some contacts or have some applicants or some candidates who are looking for a long-term career and do want to have like a real prospectful job where they can, grow with the business and be a long-term employee. Is that the sort of thing that you're trying to help people with?
Absolutely. That's something that we're hugely sort of very geared up to do. Is we love hearing about any local businesses that have vacancies available, because if you actually think about it, as an employment coach, let's say I might have about 30 people on my caseload, but I'm one employment coach of at least about 15 of us all across the Northeast. So for easy numbers, let's say 250, that's 250 potential job seekers who are at the very least looking for work in the Northeast area, because they all have a Northeast postcode. So chances are, if you are looking to grow your business and have vacancies available, we might very well have someone that fits the bill. The option of sort of networking with us and going through us is, as Julia said, although we're not a recruitment agency, we are very much a free employability service. What we do with all of our job seekers is we take the time to brief them on expectations of the workplace and ensure that they're actually going to be a right fit for that business, because that's massively important. The last thing I would want to do is set anyone up for failure or pass someone on to a vacancy that I know that was a bit of a reach, that, maybe they're not quite correct for it. That's what I'd want to avoid at all costs. And I think that can sometimes be a bit of a risk when you go the traditional recruitment methods. It's sometimes a little bit of a stab in the dark. You're not really aware of where the applicant's coming from or what they're about, really. And it can be a little bit of a gamble at that interview stage. So if anything, we could probably reduce the risk of that slightly. So that would be a benefit there.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously, like, nothing against recruitment agencies at all, but obviously they're getting paid for doing it in that way, aren't they? So they've got to find someone, they've got to place them, whereas in your job and in your project, it's more about like helping somebody find that long-term opportunity and obviously helping the business as well, isn't it?
That's it. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, I always look at my role as I'm teaching people to teach themselves, or at least that's the ultimate aim. What I'm trying to do is build up self-reliance and autonomy within the job seekers so that they can make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are used to sort of, they're like, oh, what's the next step? Or, what jobs offer me? Or can you get me a job? And it's more like, let's just take a step right back and figure out what are your values, what are you aiming to do, what type of career do you want to develop? And once I find that, you can get a real spark in someone. Let's say that their spark is they really, really want to help people. They want to help people maybe who are elderly or who have disadvantages in some way. And they would be a brilliant fit for a growing business that builds their business model around catering for that particular client group, because they have the same value system in place.
Yeah.
And I think as any business owner, if I was a business owner, what I'd want to know is the person going to turn up on time every day? That's an expectation. So I hate it when people put on their CVs and say, oh, I always turn up. It's like, well, yeah, you should do. That's not a skill, that's an expectation. But what you really want is the assurance that this person actually cares about that industry and that business. Yes. And is going to commit to it and develop in that job role over time. So I'm very aware of that as the main kind of incentive for an employer, I would say.
Yeah, so you're helping them to basically present their best qualities and obviously helping the business to find someone who's got the qualities that they're looking for in their own business. So if anybody wanted to reach out to you and to speak to you, Connor, I'm just going to put a little note out, a little shout out to people now. If you would like some help from Connor, if you'd like to connect with him in any way, just type the word Connor below. So usually our call to action in here is mentor. So that's, to let us know that you want to reach out for some business support. But in terms of getting connected with Connor, just type Connor below and we can get you introduced to him. In the meantime as well, though, Connor, I know we spoke about this the other day, but if you had any advice to business owners around, so say, for example, if they've got an advert out at the minute, like how can they really help with getting the right candidates to apply and getting them to apply properly, not just, willy-nilly people, like the right people applying?
Yeah, that is a challenge, that one. The word of the day is foolproof. And I know you can never make something 100% foolproof, but you've got to try very, very hard for it not to be misinterpreted in any way. One of the main things that I get candidates sort of a bit confused about is, oh, do I need a cover letter for this position? Or can I just attach my CV on an email? Or do I need to sign up on a separate careers site or something like that? And also a lot of them, let's say their application is successful, but they'd ideally like to know how many stages the interview process is going to be. So clarity of communication is always key, and being as specific as you can about what the job role actually entails. And I know that obviously when writing job descriptions, it's easy to stick to generalities and vagueness, as a lot of job descriptions are out there. But trying to give them some real key specifics can help sort of catch people in as well.
Yeah.
The more sort of aware they are of the process as a whole, the less confusion there will be. But I do appreciate that can be quite a tricky one to get around on that. Yeah.
So if people wanted a bit more advice around that, they could obviously hook up with you and you could give them some tips, couldn't you? And obviously you might have that bank of candidates that are ready and would like to apply. So it's definitely worth them having a conversation with you. Is there anything else you feel that our business owners really need to know about how you can help them, or any top tips for them?
No, just on the topic of that as well, something briefly came to mind is we do deal with quite a lot of people who they might not be the most digitally savvy, or digital savvy rather, and they may not be particularly up to speed with emailing out CVs. However, when you look over their experience and look at the character of this person, I'm genuine when I say this. I think bloody hell, they'd be absolutely fantastic in a job role. And a lot of these people might have a printout CV. So if you are in any way flexible for receiving printout CVs, that would be also a massive help, even if they were like posted out to you. That could be something that we could accommodate as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Brilliant. Exactly. And I guess the advantage is that you've already met these people, so you know that they've got a good energy around them, and obviously it's kind of like a little bit of a word of mouth from you referral as well, which is great. So there's a couple of questions, Connor. I'm just going to shout them out to you if that's all right. So somebody asked, and you might have already answered this, but I'll let you answer it again. Do you continue to support them once they're in work if needed?
So I won't say that in-work support is one of our specialisms, because I do know of sort of more supported employment programs who would actually get a coach to go into the workplace with said candidate. That being said, we are of the belief that once we've completed someone off the program, let's say if they've got a job, we generally have a 4-week window to give them some form of support. So it wouldn't be completely out of reach to say if someone really needed us to pop by the business one day just to see how they're getting on very briefly, that would be fine. And I'm also someone who's always on hand via kind of email or a phone call if need be. Especially if I knew that one of my candidates went into a job role, I'd want to know if they were all set up, if they were all, right with everything, like the shift times and things like that. And I'd also be open to get like an email off an employer just to say, oh, such and such is, just to keep tabs on them and that. So to answer that, it would be an informal form of in-work support, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't make any promises as to time commitments.
Yeah, I'm with you. It'd be like case by case, I guess, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Good way of putting it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering that. And I have another one for you. If anyone else has got any questions, please do pop them in. So let's see who this was. This was Madeline. So Madeline has said, some SMEs just don't have the money to recruit at the moment, but they're still keen to help people in the Northeast. Could they possibly mentor someone on your program?
Yeah, a very good question, actually. So we do have quite a few candidates who would be open for things like volunteering and also work placements. And that would be something that we'd be keen to facilitate as well. Obviously, the intention there would be, as long as that work placement is going to benefit the candidate, i.e. improving an employment gap, or if it might be something that would readily lead to a job in the future or give them a footing within a new industry that then enables them to develop it into a job. Because what we would probably want to avoid is kind of, again, it would be like you've got the long-term unemployed and you've also got the long-term volunteering, which can become a cycle of itself, which is great. I mean, I think volunteering is fantastic. But at the end of the day, their main goal is to get into a form of employment. But on a short-term basis, I would say absolutely.
Yeah, Brilliant. Excellent. That's definitely interesting for business owners to know as well. So if anyone does want to find out about this, or if they want to have a chat with Connor, just type the word Connor below. One of us will reach out to you. And as always, if you're not registered with us yet on the programme and you would like some support in other areas, or you'd like to have a chat with one of us about how we can help you, just type the word mentor below and somebody will reach out to you. Has anyone got any more questions? Or Connor, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
So what I'll probably share these contacts with you, Julia, and then imagine you can pass them out. So
Yeah.
we have our own relationship manager. She's called Rachel. So her specialism is very much on the stakeholder engagement front. So she's already established a lot of relationships with employers in the area, and she's always keen to find more as well. So I'll pass her details on. And another one, a gentleman who I was speaking with yesterday, he's the employer engager for the Hexham Job Centre. So anyone who's kind of in that Northumberland region, he's always very, very keen to speak to local businesses, and you might have even already heard of them. And what he's keen to facilitate on is if you do have vacancies, we can get your flyers and adverts in the job centres as well. And then as a secondary of that, you might end up, if there's a claimant that I'm supporting who sees that leaflet and says, oh, that would be interesting. And that can be a way of liaising like that as well. So he's a worthy contact to have.
Amazing. Fantastic. Yeah, if you can share those, then I'll pop them in the comments once you've sent them over, Connor. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So I think we'll keep it short and sweet. We'll let everybody go. But as I say, if you need any information or want a bit more of a chat with Connor privately, then all you need to do is just type his name in the chat and we will get you hooked up with him. But other than that, I hope you'll have a lovely Thursday and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.
Bye-bye now.